Hello, everyone. We are live. Happy to have you today for our panel. Today, Friday, we have a panel on eSport 3.0. Very happy to have you today. It's going to be great. We're going to have a very cool conversation about eSport 3.0. What does it mean? What is eSport 3.0? What are the possibilities offered by NFT to eSports? What could play to earn bring to esports? A lot of these questions we will try to answer with our wonderful panel and BGA members. But just before that, I just would like to introduce to you the BGA and who we are. So the Blockchain Game Alliance is an organization committed to promoting blockchain within the gaming industry. We have this goal to spread awareness about blockchain technology. We want to encourage adoption by highlighting the potential to foster new ways to create, to publish, to play, and to build strong communities around games. And most of us, we are also very strong advocate for diversity and more inclusivity of women in the industry. So BGA also provides an open forum for individuals and companies to share knowledge and collaborate, create common standards, establish best practices, and network. We have core activities within the BGA. First one, and one of the most important, is networking. We want to make sure that every members are able to communicate to each other, to network depending on the need they have. We do research and reporting. We represent blockchain game companies, and we advocate for blockchain in the game industry. Today, I would like to thank all of our sponsors that you can see on the screen, and actually we have two of them, including in this talk. We have James. And yeah, it's very cool to have you on that panel as well. Really happy to count on our sponsors to be able to promote who you are, promote and do panels. Thank you very much for that. And also our members, quite a lot. I don't know what time we will be able to have a full screen, but I don't think it will be very soon. Thanks for all of our members. We are more than 400 members today of the BGA. It's great to have everyone on board for this amazing journey. So we also host, like this one, some events, physical and digital events. We do demo day, we do new members presentations, and like today, we do workshops on specific thematics. And today, without further ado, we have this panel on eSport 3.0, and I'm very happy to welcome Elyssa Goldberg, Strategic Partnership Lead of Pada, Andy Cow, CEO of Gems, that you already saw this week with the new members presentation. It was really cool to have you. Really cool to have you again, Andy. GD Salbego, founder and CEO of AnRKey X, and Jeffrey Donnelley, founder and CEO of Megafans. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this panel. I would like to start with a very simple question that you know already, which is, what is eSport 3.0? And if I may, I would like to address this question to Elyssa at first. Ladies first, Elyssa.
I think out of all of the platforms, we're the only ones who don't directly do eSports 3.0. So I'm really curious more to hear what everyone else has to say. For me, the way that I think about it is that if 1.0 was competition using video games, 2.0 was the integration of streaming platforms and the kind of mass scaling of competitive video games. And then the third 3.0, or where we're approaching now, is the integration of GameFi, the metaverse, all of those things, both from the way that people are paired to automatically play those games. So how do you find people to compete against? But then also, how are you rewarded? So either through tokens or NFTs or anything like that. And how do we make it easy for people to find each other and get those things and play?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much. I don't know. I know that Andy want to jump on it, so I will let Andy.
Yeah, Powder, you just cover half of my esports 3.0 for the introduction. Now I have to relook at my script and skip and fast forward. Yeah. Hi everybody, my name is Andy Ko. I'm the Gen CEO, which our mission is to propel esports into the blockchain world. And let me first explain what is today's topic about. Esports 3.0. which I think Powder have just explained very well. She mentioned is about 1.0, about 2.0, and Web 3.0 is to bring blockchain plus esports, which is already very mature, into the GameFi world. And why do we look at the GameFi world currently? If you look at the whole blockchain market right now, GameFi owns 51% of the market right now. And this is very huge. Last year, the topic has been GameFi. This year, the topic is GameFi and esports. And we already have a new topic that I think BGA and me, we can work on, which is esports plus metaverse. And that is a whole big new thing upcoming. So without further ado, so esports 3.0 is simply esports plus blockchain. And let me quickly run through. I've been in the esports scenes for 15 years, so you can consider myself as a veteran. I also wear the hat as a co-founder of Game One, who is the #1 turnkey solutions company in Southeast Asia. So some of the traditional esports team that I work with is the top 5 esports team in Southeast Asia. Miniski, Team EVOS, Team Flash, Team Impunity, and Reality Reef. They are teams of Dota 2. They are teams of Mobile Legends, which is still the very big game in terms of the viewership. And we know why esports can bring to the GameFi world. They bring a whole lot of new opportunities. GameFi is basically play to earn. It has got financial values in it. That's why people play. And also it allows the trader and investor to buy NFT, to invest in them, and then it becomes a trading. However, having said that, this too, right? With esports, we can create new opportunity. Let me simply put it in this way. First, we have a gamer. From a casual gamer, a GameFi player, they can have a chance to do esports by joining tournaments and earn more financial. Next, with players, gamers, then we will have team. Bigger esports player, then you have the esports competition. With team, you're going to have streamer, you're going to have caster, you're going to have the fans, and you're going to have team organizers. So with this, it brings a new opportunity and open up more area, especially for the traditional esports people within the ecosystem to migrate. This era is millennium. Millennium era is about sharing economy, it's about decentralization, and with the wave of Web 3.0, everybody is moving, which is why I think it's smarter if we bring esports into blockchain. If you're going to bring blockchain into esports, it's going to be very hard because they do not have the infrastructure. We don't even want to talk about the understanding about blockchain that the traditional people have, right? And I also want to ask the panel of people, especially Jeff, who has been in the market for very long, and Megafans, who is also having esports tournament solutions. So Jeff, maybe, I think this part you can contest with me. Why do you think GameFi is ready for esports? With the current number of GameFi projects that is still not ready, right? We all know that there are so many thousands of GameFi projects, but a lot of that is still not on live. So when it's not live, the only game that is still popular now is only Axie Infinity, right? But then what is about the rest? Many people ask me, Andy, what makes you think blockchain is ready for esports? Because without the games, you cannot really have esports, right? There's no players, right? So Jeff, what do you have to say about this, Jeff?
Yeah, let me add to that, Andy. Thank you for the introduction. So as Andy said, I've got over 2 decades in gaming, marketing and advertising for various gaming sectors, iGaming, mobile gaming, PC gaming, fantasy sports gaming. And I originally, when I conceptualized Megafans, it was to join the esports segment of the market, because I saw that as the next wave of growth in gaming. Growth and stability, because it gives it an environment where people can engage. It's truly, a sport environment where you have players, you have fans, right? As like in a traditional sports environment. And I quickly noticed and realized that mobile had not been really deeply attended yet on the mobile side. And I knew that was coming, right? As these devices in our hands get more and more powerful, the gameplay gets more enriched, more people are going to move to mobile. And that's showing to be true with a lot of the major studios taking their games to mobile. So we know it's a great growth opportunity. The GameFi side of the equation really just opens up an entire netherworld, an economy, right? That you can now wrap around the esports environment. So imagine FIFA, right, with blockchain. So it could be that massive. I mean, that's the #1 sport in the world, #1 sporting governance panel in the world. It's everywhere. They've got their own games. They've got their own teams. They've got the largest fan base. So imagine that in the esports economy. It just makes sense. And with the advent of smart contracts, well, now it's equitable, right? So now everyone can participate, no matter which sector you're in. The publishers can participate, the teams can participate, the players can participate, the fan base can engage and participate on an equal level. And it's completely transparent, it's secure. I mean, you couldn't ask for a more ideal situation. I'll add to that the gaming economy back in the 1990s already started trading digital assets. Korea and Japan had complete trading economies built around games in the mid to late 90s. So this isn't new to gamers. This is natural to gamers. So it's a native environment. So it just makes sense. It's a natural bridge. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, Jide, I don't know if you want to jump on that. I know the importance role of what you do in AnRKey X about driving the play to earn revolutions. What's your take on this? The importance of monetizations for the gaming experience and for esports in general.
Yeah, I mean, because of the blockchain, right, technology, it removes so much friction in middlemen entities, right? It allows peer to peer. So with that, it opens up just a whole robust, tons of different areas that it could be applied, right? So for instance, with AnRKey X, our game studio, right? One of our games, Battle Wave, is esports. Play to earn gaming with heavy DeFi components and a lot of staking involved. And there's 9 teams that compete literally for the weekly prize pool. And that we've been doing that since 2020 in this game. And you could say it's more of sorry, it's late here. I'm pretty wiped. You guys probably can see how red I am, right? I'm just flushed. It's kind of like a hybrid, right? It's not straight esports, right? In the sense of playing one, third party game or multiple games and stuff like that. This is actually inside the game, utilizing blockchain technology for crypto tokens, reward, DeFi protocols. And it's fascinating. Let's just say that, in our games, they've been live now about 6 months, and our community has earned almost $2 million. It's kind of baffling to me, honestly. I should be playing, probably make more money myself than my salary at my company. So, but I think what it's going to really revolutionize, we have guilds in our, everyone talks about guilds, right? And I'm just waiting for that question. I'm sure that's going to come up in esports, obviously, right? So the way we look at it is we have guilds in our, community, like almost everyone does now. There's big guild projects. My theory is that because of the blockchain technology that took guilds from traditional gaming and really turned it into a full-fledged business, right? Because you're able to do it now with NFTs, right? And blockchain. I firmly believe esports is going to be one of the outside of just regular games. I believe the next component is esports to follow adoption, because if you look at guilds now, because of the blockchain technology, they are essentially doing exactly what esports does, except esports is weekly, monthly tournament, right? Kind of time-based. And gilding is doing the same exact thing except daily earning. But you are managing teams, you're buying assets, the companies behind it are buying sponsorships, right? It's almost an exact mirror. So I'm a firm believer, like this whole guild movement and tools around all that stuff is going to be adopted soon, within esports pretty heavily.
Yeah. The relationship between esports teams and their audience is really engaged. There are a lot of engagement between them. A lot of things happen, and a strong relationship between the fans and the esports teams. It's all about the gameplay. Try to how to make it entertainment, how to play the game, and with this monetization aspect, do you feel like there will be a role of education for esports team toward their audience to be able to really understand what's behind a blockchain game with play to earn and all that kind of things? What do you think? Do you think that they really need to focus afterwards on education? And I will address to whoever wants. I don't know if you have a take on that. Maybe for guilds, I guess guilds are really important to have this education part. Do you feel like esports teams today and tomorrow will be able to have that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to jump in because I speak to a lot of esports teams, and I feel like I've definitely had the experience of them mirroring the market in terms of like how many are excited about blockchain and how many are not excited about blockchain. And I think, the majority are very interested. They want to know how to engage the blockchain in a way that doesn't alienate their existing audience. And to some extent, they're wondering whether they need to like make a separate wing, let's say, of their esports team or like of their enterprise in order to, maybe they bring in new players who specifically play blockchain games, or whether they use existing players or existing structures with audiences that might not be compatible with the existing blockchain games. And that's not to say that in the future, those audiences won't overlap more. But it's interesting to watch the struggle. And this happens both in game studios that I speak to and then in esports teams as well, where they want to jump in. They're not sure how, and they don't want to like pollute existing modders. But then we have to find a creative solution that seems compatible. Like if it's a team focus on FPS games, then and you bring them a really great FPS blockchain game, then that is actually a much more aligned audience, rather than if you're trying to make it a super financy game and people are really excited about, open world games, and then it's not so compatible, let's say.
I agree with that, Elyssa. It has to be native, right? It has to give it credibility, to make it genuine to the audience, right? And keep the audience's interest. But that's what's excellent about this blockchain gaming space is it's growing and expanding, and there's new titles coming out almost as fast as apps, right? So it's incredibly fast, and there's this sort of massive gold rush / land grab going on where people are running to it. The market's forming in front of us, so it's coming, right? And these teams will see that. To Flavian, to your question though, can the teams use that to educate? I think education is going to be a key part of this. First, people have to be aware of it and what it is, so they have to understand it, right? And so that can be done. That can be gamified actually within the system. And you can introduce things like an NFT or some sort of bridge mechanism that's it's a passport and a bank card all rolled up in one, or whatever else you imagine, right? It's a smart contract. So it's coming. I really like hearing Elyssa's perspective on it, that some of these larger organizations are hesitating, but they're definitely, working on it behind the scenes, right? It's coming. They know it. It's just how. It's not an if, it's a when and how.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I also want to add on to two things. Play to earn and game finance is no longer a concept. It's already a proven concept. So let's just do a fact check. With this proven concept, and there's two big areas that is going to drive play to earn further. One is the culture. Culture means the millennium people are growing up with PC, esports, gaming. They don't talk about traditional sports so much. They don't care if tomorrow, like during my time, Jeff time, we want to know Chicago Lakers versus Chicago Bull. Oh, we are more excited during my time. Mike Tyson fight with Holyfield, or those are, we grew up with sports, right? And you look at 2011 when I started esports. Everybody say, Andy, you are ruining the child's future. But look at what happened today. Everybody grew up with esports, and it became such a big job for everyone to participate. Streamers are earning a lot of money in the esports world. There's $1 billion in the traditional esports sphere, and these monies are coming from companies, and companies need to depend on esports. Now, you look at play to earn. I mentioned the first thing is the culture. Millennials grew up with it. They already know Bitcoin. They already heard of Ethereum. They even know what is digital wallet. Now, the other thing is really the advancement of the future technology will help to spearhead play to earn gains at a speed. I call it our cryptoton moon speed. It's moving so fast. And not to forget, right, the GameFi projects, risk only is still a baby. These developers, I mentioned a few names who is also the BGA members like Project C, Cross the Ages, Forta. They are very new, but look at the achievement they have done. They are not just building a game of throw. They are building a game of throw in a sharing economy that multiple way of monetization for different people, from streamer to fans to players to traders to bettors, everybody within the ecosystem. And the best way to do it, and on top of smart contract plus blockchain, I think this is the future. There's no contest about it. It's already a fact. Unless you want to change and bring in a new technology, but technology is blockchain. Whether we like it or not, those people who are watching this, I hope go to YouTube, start understanding what is blockchain.
Awesome, thank you. Sorry, Flavian. I wanted to remind the audience that if you have any questions, you can post them on the comments, and we can address any questions from you to any of the panelists. And actually, on that note, there's a question here by Xborg. So whoever wants to answer it, I think it's very suitable to any of you guys. So what are the key challenges to attract traditional players to the blockchain game space? What do you think are the challenges and maybe opportunities to attract these players to the space?
I'll jump in. Yeah, I mean, sure. I think, with all its glory, blockchain Web3 solves a lot of issues, but even still, the user experience is absolutely pretty horrible. Also utilizing products, and in this case, right, we're talking about gaming and stuff. So, in tokens, crypto tokens, the whole, as you perform virtual commerce, it's completely fragmented. You have to go to this game, play this game, go here, stake, go here, lend, go here, swap, wait, this and that. I mean, the interoperability, everything is siloed right now. As well as I even think the industry as a whole and the people behind making the products don't put enough emphasis on this as well, right? Of really putting, there's so much development on all these incredible smart contract, right? And all this coding and obviously tokenomics, right? A lot of focus there for projects, but really the focus lacks desperately on user experience in most games, most platforms, most dexes. Some of the exchanges are definitely better, but that's because the only you know, until now, the only thing that's ever hit mass adoption was centralized exchanges. Technically, right? 1 million users, right? We start calling that kind of mass adoption. So, you know, some of the exchanges like Coinbase and others, even Binance, have actually put some, you know, work into that. So it's definitely a better experience. But overall, the rest of it's pretty much like dog doo-doo, right? And it's scary, first of all, for non-crypto people to get into crypto and deal with money, right? Using all this crazy stuff. So let alone once they actually get past that friction point of what's MetaMask or what's this wallet. Wait, what? I copy a code? Wait, I'm going to miss one number and it's gone forever? Once they get back that whole hurdle, past that, then you got to go, wait, I got to do this. I got to do that. Yeah. So, yeah, anyways, that's always been our goal at our company since day one. We've worked on a lot of innovative stuff, including like we have our own bridges directly in our games on the dashboard. Like, why go somewhere else when it can be right next to when you buy your NFTs? Things like that and other things we really focused on or to solve that.
Yeah,
I agree with that, JD.
I totally, yeah, JD mentioned something very critical, I think, and you know, which is why that is the mission of GEMS. I think the game developer are over committing because of blockchain. They have to develop a marketplace. It's no longer like just purely developing and designing the game. With blockchain, they need to do smart contract. They need to do DeFi union, dark guild. They need to have esports module. They need to have metaverse. They need to have social fi. It's more than just a game that they are developing, which is why we understand these problems. And the missions of GEMS is offering these technologies to the GameFi partners. I'm telling the GameFi partners, hey, focus on the design of your game. Because if we want more traditional players to be able to play to earn games, you as a game developer, focus on the game of truth and game engineering. Let the rest of the other technologies, by partnering with either GEMS or people like Jeff from Megafans, and I think Megafans has got a great esports tournament module, which Jeff, I want you to talk about how is your solutions can help the current GameFi partners, because I think the audience question is very direct. Why we think and we can attract the traditional players into GameFi, because blockchain itself, because of the complexity, you need a lot of education. So maybe Jeff, you want to answer that? Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, we're working on it like you, JD. So except from the mobile side, right? Because we're mobile first. But I agree with you. You know, the friction's there, right? The fear, right? When I first got into cryptocurrency in 2016, I had to do it because I had clients that were going to pay me through using Bitcoin, and I had to quickly study up and watch several videos and read books and, you know, try to understand what it was, right? Get my head wrapped around it. But today, you know, the information's there. It's moving very, very quickly. The companies, as you mentioned, are moving towards solving for that. And on our side, it's a right now, in my view, the technology's there and it's being built for it. It's a UI UX challenge, right? Because it is clunky. You do go look at these games that are claiming that you know, it's a blockchain game, and you go in and find out it's just a wallet, or it's just a game and you have to go outside the game to do the transaction, right? Outside the gaming environment, that sort of thing. So these are some of the issues. But as I stated earlier, we know the world's moving towards it. That's why we're even here having this conversation. It's happening. It's not an if, it's a when. We just have to build to it. And, you know, in my opinion, it's such a massive market that you will get that migration, and you'll be using, you know, community-based social media channels like Discord, for instance, right? Because there's like a natural affinity of the gamers that it was built for originally. You got these NFT discussions. You have these factions of gamers that hate NFTs, right?
Can I just interrupt? You know how crazy we are with going this route? We actually integrated our Discord channels, and specifically the esports team channels, in our users' dashboards.
There you go.
They're competing, it's directly in their game, their Discord channel.
Because that's what they're used to. It's native for them anyway,
Yep.
as gamers. So these are going to be the bridges, right? That people cross over to get the understanding. but they have to stop, they have to learn, they have to educate. We just have to simplify that as much as possible with the technology that we have as we build it. I just had a conversation a couple of days ago with Samsung. They are very friendly towards this environment. They want to see this work as well. So we've got the large, traditional manufacturer, organizations that are also, working on this and waiting for us to bring them the solutions, right? So we're building to it. Andy mentioned, my game. I'm not here just to tout Megafans, but our goal we're working on.
We all do it here, right? That's the point
Right.
of this, and to educate too. But
it's educate, right? I'm a huge proponent of education and supporting. As we grow the system, we all need it. But we're bridging Web 2.0 to Web 3.0 with our mobile games, right? And we're doing that currently using NFTs and cryptocurrency. But NFTs is really what activated our audience. I mean, that's what just lit up last year. And it's whatever comes next, right? As far as currencies, I watch things like Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy, and they talk about credits. So in the future, it's just digital credits, right? That's what the sci-fi world calls it. So it doesn't really matter, particularly what the actual product is. It's the bridge. It's the function, right? And so that's what we're working on. But yeah, there is definitely a need there to get the traditional gamers over, but it's being worked on, and I think it's being worked on very quickly.
Yeah, and I think to your point, I mean, what we see a lot, we work a lot with blockchain game studios in order to provide increased visibility to their games as they go to market. We have a content creation platform for game clips specifically. So we started with traditional gaming, and as more blockchain games started being developed, they're also made so that tools so that gamers can have our tools to share cool moments from those games as well. And I think to your points, like there's really three challenges, right? It's like accessibility, it's visibility, and then it's also this education component. But I think, I mean, of course, there's like the UX UI problem of blockchain. There's also like really complicated lingo, right? Like even just to understand what like to the moon, like wag me, what a rug is, like all of those things aren't so obvious to people, right? And it requires a lot of onboarding in that respect. But even still, I mean, of course, like we certainly, our original app was born out of a community of over 60,000 gamers in our Discord. So like we're very tight, like to our community. But as soon as we started branching into minting those game clips into NFTs, at first we were like, okay, how do we bring them along for the ride? And we would start hosting various events and things. But at some point also, like the Venn diagram might look like this a little bit. I think back in the day, like when, free to play mobile was coming out in gaming and everyone was like freaking out and they were like, it's the death of gaming as we know it. And there's never going to be a quality game again. What it actually did was expand the pie. It brought in new people who previously weren't gamers. Like maybe they wouldn't play for hours and hours and hours, really cinematic games on their PCs. But now you had more people playing Candy Crush on the Metro, and like that's amazing. And so I think that blockchain games will bring in a whole new constituency, which is super, super exciting. And then also as we get better at simplifying the language, simplifying the UX and UI of these things, improving the quality of the gameplay itself so that it's just like fun to do with your friends. I think we'll get some of those traditional gamers. And then we'll also get like a whole new slice of people we hadn't previously considered in the gaming industry. And that's amazing as well.
Yeah, I want to add on to what Jeff and Powder overall, because I'm an advocate of esports 3.0. So I clearly understand a lot of issues. And I think currently, just a note, right, for all the blockchain partners out there, focus on your products if you want more retail investor. The rest of the other technologies like I mentioned DeFi Union, Marketplace, Guild, eSports, Metaverse, there are companies like what me and Jeff is here today, right? We are bringing technologies to help blockchain company to fill in the missing pieces so that the other blockchain company can focus on your GameFi project, your Metaverse project. You don't really have to do everything. Just run a search, look at BGA, they got all the members, those are solid members. You need to start to talk about cooperation. And blockchain, we work very fast, unlike esports, right? I've been esports. You know, when I want to talk to another company for cooperation, sorry, pitch deck, proposal, meetings, it takes maybe about 3 months to confirm a cooperation. But in blockchain, we all move at blockchain speed because the trading is 24/7, 365 days, controlled by computer. It never sleeps, right? So the beauty of blockchain and the speed, let's make blockchain happen with esports because we are moving faster than the traditional people. And like I say, focus on your products. You don't really have to do everything. There are great technologies partner out there that you can leverage, handshake, and we win big together. And then at a mass adoption for blockchain into the entire world. And that is what my side note for all the blockchain companies today who are watching this BGA panel on eSports 3.0.
You're totally right. I think one of the things I'm looking at the comments and I see that like Hassan had asked why most crypto games are web browser games that have like very limited graphics. And I feel like as to your point of like how quickly the space moves, it's like the expectations of buyers are moving faster than games, like good games can be developed. You know, like good games take years. Right? Like it's years and years, giant teams working really difficult like gameplay mechanics and visuals and lore and all of this kind of stuff. And the like communities expect that like the instant that an NFT collection drops, all of a sudden there will be like a really robust game. And so I think over time, like that will level out as, you know, the time passes and the space evolves and whatever, but it's like, you can't just say, I'm going to make a game and then it's made. And so I think that a lot of, you know, web browser is easier to build in than let's say like mobile and stuff like that for development life cycles. But it's interesting to think about the speed and then that disconnect with the community as well.
It's going to take collaborations. And I don't know if you guys remember, but, you know, 10 years ago or even 8 years ago, you know, League of Legends, games like League of Legends and Call of Duty, they weren't even really considering mobile yet, right? So their move to mobile just happened really over the last 5 years. So it's like that, right? That's a good comparative analysis. It's like, you know, these big gaming studios with the quality games, with the resources to build those higher quality, rich gameplay environments, you know, they're coming. But to Andy's point, you know, it on our side, on the technology side, it's moving very, very quickly. We're just waiting for them to catch up and come over. So, but it'll happen, and it is happening. I know there's conversations happening on it right now. So,
yeah, and just for everybody, in terms of the blockchain partners, in terms of new users who are watching this, guys, blockchain move almost the same time as esports, which is 10 years ago. But if you put two products together, esports is 1 billion. And how much is blockchain currently? We are talking about the whole market cap, 3 trillion. So it brings a lot of finance. And monetization is still the key for everyone, right? Because without finance, you can't do a lot of things in your social life because it affects our friends, our family, our children. So finance is still the key, which is why GameFi, Metaverse, esports, and SocialFi, plus this whole esports 3.0 bring a whole new dimension of finance for everyone. And Powder mentioned earlier on, peer-to-peer. Yes, we want peer-to-peer. We want to cut the middle person away. We want to remove the companies away who are laundering huge amount of profits from the content creators. We are living in this era. Look at how Grab disrupt the whole taxi. I'm talking about taxi booking, right? Look at how taxi booking app is an app. They disrupt the whole market. It allows the taxi driver of their hard working hour time to have more profit now. And blockchain is doing the same thing. And we are attacking sector by sector by sector. It's just that mean is still the best sector to attack. Why? We work on the millennials, the very young people, and they grew up understanding blockchain. They grew up understanding the benefits. I can't be working with people who are much older because they are going into a retire mode, right? So that's why they say blockchain is the future. But you have to understand, the culture is making that shift to supersede blockchain and make blockchain the future through the millennials. And that is something everybody, you have to understand.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. I know that Jeff mentioned that very quickly, but with what we saw actually with the news, we have esports giants like EA who recently distanced themselves from the adoption on NFTs, and questions have been raised about authenticity, security, quality of the NFTs. Do you share that same opinion? I guess not, but I would like to have your opinion on this behavior of esports giants who don't want to trust that kind of assets for now.
Don't forget Steam too. They
Yes,
pulled away from
sure.
NFTs. I think that's a mistake. I think they're going to find out, and eventually they're going to come back in one way, shape, or form. I honestly believe that, and you can't, when a market's growing like this, you're going to have fudders, right? Show up and somebody in a boardroom has a fear and they're operating out of fear. Well, that's not going to grow anything. But the market's going to grow without them, and they're going to see that. So I think it's a mistake on their part. I think they're going to come back.
Yeah, I think that as with any like complicated issue, it's like if it was so easy to solve, like if it was like so black and white, like we obviously would all like be on one side or the other. I think, internally even we had a lot of discussion about how deep into blockchain we wanted to go, how deeply we wanted to integrate it into our platform. We ended up hosting 9 workshops internally at 2 hours each, so everyone could kind of voice their thoughts. And I think that what I had mentioned before, when we were talking before with education of bringing traditional gamers over to Web3, it's like you can't ignore that there's a lot of scammy nonsense in the market. Like that is just a fact. But it's not that all blockchain endeavors are like scammy and like garbage. In fact, there are so many amazing things. And the rate at which those things are being created is accelerating too. And so I know that internally what came out of those discussions was that we, made a more nuanced take on like what kinds of blockchain projects we would and wouldn't support, like what kinds of game mechanics we would expect, like what kinds of business models we would expect, and have a sort of rubric internally of how we look at those so that our community knows that there's like some sort of trust element. And I think that to wholesale discount an entire market, which like as Jeff has mentioned, it's inevitable. Like there is so much money pouring into this that it will happen. The question is how and when and what will it look like. And it's important, I think, over time as like the initial shock wears off, the people will have a more nuanced take. But for now, it's like, black, white, and then like everyone in the middle waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, Powder, I think it's not black, it's not white, it's gray, right? So you look at blockchain, the beautiful thing about blockchain is that they built and it's taking it needs to take time because it's a proof of concept, proof of technology, audit. So, but then once we have passed the infrastructure, and you look at few years before, I think we have a token swap issue. But look, we managed to solve that issue, right? We got token breach right now. It's easily breached. We got pancake swap, Uniswap. So the whole blockchain, there's an advancement in terms of technology. We talk about UI, we talk about UX, we talk about the difficulty for people to understand. But what I'm saying now at DEX exchanges, they are changing. It's much easier compared to before. And it's such a good news to know because the more the UI are changed, it makes it more user-friendly for the user. Therefore, it will massively adopt players. I mean, look at esports, right? When it started in 2011, we even had the problem with the headphones during the days because, that time like, I can hear him talking, I know his secret. oh, he's going to move there. But hardware move with the software, and esports is so mature now. If you compare esports and blockchain, esports has got tons of problems that until now they cannot resolve unless they put blockchain in. Look at G2A, which is one member of BGA, right? G2A is the biggest traditional game. I call them the marketplace, right? But they are investing into blockchain. Unless you are telling me that the number one traditional in-game asset store is investing into blockchain for no reason.
Yeah, look, to underscore this, we know that blockchain's here to stay. We know that gaming's here to stay. We know that esports is here to stay. So it's inevitable, like Elyssa said, right? So, and you've got VCs pollinating this market, so it's happening. So again, I think that big companies will make decisions like that. I think eventually they'll walk it back or find some other way to enter the same space.
Yeah, but JD, maybe we can get some thoughts from you, right? JD, how do you feel? Do you feel esports can create tradable NFT? Like, how can esports create tradable? Because we know games, music, domain. Yeah.
Easy. It's very easy because when you look at gaming NFTs as a whole, they're all just utility. That's all it is, right? So with esports, just like SocialFi, just like anything that a utility has a purpose, then of course a tradable NFT, you could be unlocking access, you can, use these drops with your esports teams or your fans. They gain some access here, but if they hold them for X amount of time, or they still have some utility for the next event, or there's a million ways, man. What it really comes down to when you separate the art, which we see the huge boom in right now, the real boom of NFTs has been, the art, let's just say it, right? Whether it's real or not trying to start a whole comment on that, is no utility really. Some of them have done some interesting things. I've gotten this one thing, and then there's like there's a bunch of really kind of weird out there, interesting utility art things, but forgetting about those little like unique few ones, utility brings value and purpose, which means there's a value from parties in a market, right? If it has a purpose.
Let's talk about that art thing for a second, because I think that's
we'll go there. I think
We're there.
It's great. We're there. It's crazy town, right? But it's also what allows this concept of smart contracts, blockchain, to resonate with the mass audience. Now it's tangible. They can see it or hear it, so that's the utility, as you're talking about, JD. I think is more important than the actual visual product itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Completely.
So, yeah. So
hence why, if we're really going to get philosophical, right, bare bone philosophical, hence why no one gives a crap about all the crappy blockchain games out there, because they just care about the utility and the value they're receiving.
True.
And there's nothing wrong with
I'm not even saying art games are the best either. Just to be honest, real, right? We're still developing things to take it to that next level, because we came out really early. We were literally the first DeFi game in the industry. Some of our team hate when I say it, but we literally are the ones who started the GameFi trend. We created it back in 2020. So we were really early in this game, and there was no blockchain gaming at that time. Actually had 2 users. Okay. It was crypto days, literally. Actually had $2 and 2 tacos and 5 users, literally. There was nothing around. We came at this really from a lot of the early companies in 2020 came at it from a very DeFi innovation, a gamification of DeFi. So we had a hard shock when Axie took off, and our innovation was incredible at the time. And then all of a sudden people wanted somewhat cool games. No offense to Axie, but even Axie, let's be real, right? It is what it is. And it definitely ain't World of Warcraft. I think it's on par with maybe Candy Crush, but it's easier to play Candy Crush because it's in your hands. but so anyways, long story short, that's why I'm not trying to knock other people's blockchain games as not being great, because even ours, we had to come really fast to pick up to this trend that all the industry now all of a sudden wanted real games and not really like gamified DeFi. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
So-
right. We weren't ready for the growth. It happened so fast.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, it's on us to catch up.
I was ready for it.
That's a fact.
JD is very interesting because you have explicitly mentioned something again for the benefit of the GameFi partners who are watching this panel on eSports 3.0. JD mentioned utility. Think about this term. Esports bring the usage of how the token in many possible, endless possibility of the token, and that is very important. And I think for every blockchain company, when we talk about utility, what does this mean? It means there's a chance for our token to go this way and not this way, right? The more people have a chance to leverage and use your token within your system, therefore your price ultimately will go up, right? So again, I want the people who are watching this, think about what JD has just mentioned. It is very critical. And NFT can be created from esports, and the chances of creating this, I think, is so many that I cannot finish in the next talk. We're going to have a topic to just talk about this here. But JD, thank you very much, because you just let me, I'm writing a symposium, right? I'm writing the whole article about esports 3.0. How am I disrupting the market with decentralization, with the benefit of Web 3.0, smart contract, sharing economy, transparency. So, and I have one more thing that I want to talk about, which is utility, because I think we also can educate the blockchain companies like GameFi, Metaverse, social companies, tell them about this part, and the benefit of esports can increase their token price, and that is something that is very interesting for them, I feel. Thanks a lot, JD.
My pleasure.
For our last minutes together, guys, you know, one of the things we really wanted to do is to bring a definition, a whole definition of what it is to when we talk about eSport 3.0, and you talked about a lot of things: education, accessibility, utility, visibility as well, and it makes a lot of sense for the different actors in the esports today that we could say 2.0, if we may. What could be your advice to make the steps to enter into the blockchain games industry? What should you advise to help them understand how cool and they could enter that world?
I think lowering the barrier to entry, right, for all the players, which again is why we chose to go mobile first, because that's the most massive reach on the globe, right? You have almost 3 billion people playing casual mobile games every single day on the planet. That's almost half the world population. I mean, that's the single largest market. You know, mobile gaming eclipsed PC and console gaming, 2.5 years ago, I think. And it's growing at an incredible pace. So I think just making it a lower barrier to entry, simplifying it, making it more frictionless. To JD's earlier point, that's something we're all working on, right? So, and Elyssa mentioned it as well. It's UI UX. So the user experience needs to be as frictionless as possible, and I think that's what's going to help us bridge between the 2.0 to the 3.0 space.
And I think, at least when we speak to esports teams, we work a lot with creators, and specifically with with minting game clips, so moments from gameplay or esports tournaments or anything like that, into NFTs to then sell to the community. You know, the thing that resonates with esports teams and creators, apart from like you get a percentage of the revenue every time the clip circulates, instead of like it going on YouTube and you have to reach some sort of crazy scale in order to get a dime. It's also a really tangible way, as Andy had mentioned, to really to have like a golden ticket or a key for utility. Like the holder of this NFT not only can support their team or creator directly, but then also maybe gets access to a private event or something like that. maybe gets access to a private Discord server with their favorite players. And so I think there's the NFT component of the kinds of rewards that people can get through esports. There's also the trying to get esports 2.0 teams over to playing on some of these platforms, lowering that barrier to entry. But then there's also really helping them to understand that this is a meaningful way to engage digital communities. They have methods already if they have a streaming apparatus or something like that for tipping and subscriptions and whatever. But using this like much more frictionless way of engaging with people on the internet and providing like proof that person was there or really cares or whatever is a good way to have those golden tickets. So.
Okay, great. Yeah. Please,
very sorry. For the benefit of everyone, I would like to, for the benefit of the panelists here and the benefit of the speakers and also the blockchain companies and non-blockchain companies, I have one page to share. Is still one thing, right? Finance. This page will clearly tell you how users, companies can earn money in this play to earn era. If you can allow me 1 minute to just share to everybody, just share. Okay,
Sure.
I just click on share.
Send it on the private chat. Okay, sure. Okay, yeah, I can see it. I'm gonna share screen.
Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so this is if I could just summarize for my last part, this is esports 3.0 infrastructure. On the left, on the extreme left, is the way of finance that you can earn when we propel esports into blockchain. The middle is the people who are involved within the whole esports 3.0, and we are able to create opportunity for newcomers and also migration from the traditional esports into esports 3.0, which is esports plus blockchain. On the right panel, I mentioned earlier on, GameFi projects, focus on your game design, focus on your game of thrill, leave the rest of the technologies which JD has mentioned, which Powder has mentioned, or the education part, the UI, the UX. You can look for partners like Gems, Megafans. There are so many partners that I can think of, Formless, IQ Protocol, MetaVisa. These are all technological blockchain industry experts. Leverage on them. So with esports 3.0, you can earn money from game finance, esports finance, metaverse, social, fans, even studio and mining finance. We don't forget, right? Maybe I'm not a gamer. But we know for sure every gamer, they have a good graphic card. We have the tools to help you also to earn money from mining. We have tools to help you to build your guilds. We have tools to allow your fans to use our watch and earn module. We even have the module for predictions. You can predict today Team A or Team B wins, and you get rewarded by points, which can then be exchanged on the tokens, which is why earlier on JD mentioned the utility part. This is clearly with esports, there are many things that the token can be utilized, and thus there's a chances of increasing your token price. So there's a play to earn, NFT marketplace, tournament modules. The only thing that I don't put there is game design and game engineering, which is why I want you guys, the GameFi partners especially, still focus on the game design. Work with partners. After this chat, you can go to BGA Twitter and ask for contacts. I think BGA has done a great job because they put not only the GameFi partners together, they put companies that is providing a lot of solutions for the GameFi partner in their member spot. So please feel free to contact them and browse through the list. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andy. It was very comprehensive, and thank for all of our speakers today to let us the chance to know more about what is eSport 3.0. Really looking forward, Elyssa, to have the NBA top shot of esports that you mentioned. Will be very fun. And yeah, thank you very much, guys, for your participation, and see you very soon.
Thank you, host. See you, Jeff. Bye, JD.
Bye.
See you.
Bye, Luis. Bye-bye. Bye,
Thank you.
audiences.